Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Friday. Started off a tiny bit distracted. You guys are going to help me out today. I think our guests are going to help me out today. We got Delano, we got Steve Kim, we got Shamika. We got the Common Sense Skeptic. That's a Twitter handle or X handle of some guys out of Canada that have done some great work on Andrew Tate. And that's where I want to start today's show with Andrew Tate, a discussion about Andrew Tate. He's in the United States of America. I'm completely confused, still am. And I've been down the Andrew Tate rabbit hole and the controversy around Andrew Tate. I can't figure out why Andrew Tate is so important, but he is for some reason, and I'll try to get to the bottom of it today. If you guys are patient and stick with me, Steve Kim, after we're done talking about Andrew Tate, Steve Kim's going to join us. We'll talk some sports. Joy Taylor has been sidelined. That's Fox Sports' word. She's been sidelined. We'll talk about that. LeBron James had some interesting comments about being the face of the league. John Gruden, all has been forgiven in Tampa. He's going back in the Ring of Honor. I got some thoughts on that. Travis Kelce has said that he's coming back to play. We'll talk about that as well. And as always, every Friday, we love to play Listen or Lose. We love to tap into those of you that have been watching the show and give you an opportunity to win $100 in Bitcoin from the Fold app. Listen, if you're like me, you don't know a great deal about Bitcoin. But you know what I do know? Free money and a great deal when I see one. Bitcoin isn't going anywhere, so why not start stacking some today? The Fold team hooked us up with an amazing way to earn Bitcoin rewards just for shopping where you already shop. Amazon, Uber, DoorDash, Lowe's, Home Depot, Airbnb, Southwest Airlines, Best Buy, you name it. More than 50 top merchants. Go to foldapp.com/Whitlock right now or just scan the QR code on your screen. New users get a Bitcoin bonus with the first gift card purchase. That's foldapp.com/Whitlock. Start earning Bitcoin rewards today. So listen, just from doing your regular shopping, you can earn Bitcoin. You buy a Southwest Airlines ticket, boom, I get some Bitcoin for that. You use Airbnb, boom, I get some Bitcoin for that. And then in addition to that, at the end of today's show, I'm going to give you a chance to just hand you $100 in Bitcoin for people that signed up, whoever scores the most points in Listen or Lose at the end of the show. Thank you, Fold App, for joining and supporting our team. Now, let's get into today's show, and we'll start with a clip of Andrew Tate's arrival here in the United States of America. He's been under house arrest, it seems like forever, in Romania. There's sex trafficking charges, sex trafficking allegations, there's rape allegations, he's been some sort of internet pimp. What do they call it? It's not OnlyFans, but it is a little, webcam girls. And he's gotten in trouble in Romania. He's gotten a little bit of trouble, I think, in the UK. But now he's here in America, and there's a little bit of controversy. It's like the Trump administration, to some degree, I think, not defended Andrew Tate, but said something. They were trying to help him out in Romania in some capacity. And so now here he is. He's still facing charges, best of my knowledge, in Romania, and will have to go back, best of my knowledge. But now he's shown up here. So let's start with the footage of Andrew Tate upon arrival here in the United States.
Listen. We live in a democratic society where it's innocent until proven guilty, and I think my brother and I are largely misunderstood. There's a lot of opinions about us, a lot of things that go around about us on the internet. We've yet to be convicted of any crime in our lives ever. We have no criminal record anywhere on the planet ever. Our case was dismissed on the 19th of December in Romania under the Biden administration. And our prosecutor recently decided, because we have no active indictment in court, to let us go and return. This is a democratic society. It's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, as my brother and I are. And I think it's extremely important that we stop allowing media spin, wrap-up smears, lies, or carefully constructed narratives from George Soros-funded operations trying to destroy the reputations of good people who have no intention to do anything other than follow the law.
All right, so that's Andrew Tate. I think his brother Tristan was standing next to him as they touched down here in America. This is a pretty divisive issue among conservative influencers. There have been some like Candace Owens and others that we've had some spirited discussions on this show several years ago about Andrew Tate. And people seem, on the conservative side, very reluctant to criticize this guy. Best of my knowledge, the stuff that I've seen, the guy's some sort of pimp and bragged about it. I don't get how there's any defense for Andrew Tate, just out of his own mouth, his own actions, the stuff that's caught on film that he said and done. He's some sort of a pimp. But, and other people, he's some sort of spokesman for the manosphere. He's inspiring young men. He's backlash to feminism. I'm trying to understand it. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, I'm not sure if he understands it because he doesn't seem pleased that Andrew Tate has touched down in his state. Let's play the clip from Ron DeSantis talking about the Tates arriving in Florida.
Is he welcome here? What the state do? Send back to Romania or whatever?
We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay, guys.
So I've never fully understood the Andrew Tate deal. And it's maybe I'm just too old and I don't understand the internet. I don't know. What do you call a pimps and hoes degree, PhD, these online courses for young men? It seemed like a grift. It seemed like he's exaggerated his wealth. But the biggest critic and expert that I know has been on the show before. He calls himself Common Sense Skeptic on Twitter or X. They've done a couple of what I would have to well-produced documentary-style investigations on Andrew Tate. We're going to welcome the Common Sense Skeptic back to the show, and I'm going to ask him to help reset my understanding of Andrew Tate and what's going on here. Could we bring him up on screen? Let's get the Common Sense Skeptic. Oh, and I didn't know he was still not showing his face. But anyway, put out some. What is going on here with Andrew Tate? Why is he here? How did he get here? I thought how did Romania let him go? Let's start there. Why is he here? How did he get here?
Great questions. The Romanian government, per se, didn't actually have anything to do with this, apparently. The new prosecutor on the case is all it took to get the permission for them to leave Romania for, specifically the U.S., for 4 weeks. They do have a deadline of being back in Romania by March 25th. So that's going to be your first indicator whether or not they intend to go back to Romania to face justice. And just yesterday, their American victim was in Romania resubmitting her own statements because there was some sort of mix-up with the statement that she gave before she left Romania the first time to go back to the States. So she had to resubmit her second statement, her exit statement. And that's what she was doing yesterday in Romania, to the best of our knowledge. So there's no reason for her to be in Romania giving another statement if these charges have been dismissed, like the Tates like to claim. So.
Okay, do you expect him to go back to Romania? What's America's relationship like with that country? Will we extradite him, or will he just never leave America and never face those charges?
Well, there is another extradition order against him from the UK. So if Romania somehow drops the ball, fails to get him back, whatever, the UK has another set of charges that are ready to proceed, which is why the extradition order was granted, and that was last August, I believe. So like I said, if Romania drops the ball here, then UK is going to pick it up. And there's no reason why the U.S. wouldn't be able to pick up the ball after that, because there are international crimes here against minors that the U.S. DOJ could pursue underneath the extraterritorial sexual exploitation of children statutes, where anybody under the age of 18 is considered a child, and these guys go around bragging about the 16-year-olds that they bang.
So obviously, you're a skeptic and a critic of Andrew Tate. So give us your raw analysis. Who is Andrew Tate? What crimes do you believe he has committed?
So we'll go with what he's been indicted on in Romania in the first case. There are two cases against them proceeding, as far as we know, in Romania. The first one dates back to the original raid, and Tate is on three charges of human trafficking, but they've been combined into a more serious human trafficking in a continued form. He's been charged with 2 counts of rape against the same girl, so that again was condensed into rape in a continuous form. And he's charged with, indicted with, being the head of the criminal organization. His brother has more charges against him. Tristan has 1 extra victim. He also has a charge of instigate to commit violence, which one of his underlings, a female named Georgiana, she instigated that violence, committed violence against the victim. So she's got those charges. They also revenge porned this poor girl. And what else did she have? So going into her personal profiles and doing the revenge porn. So that is interference with a computer system. So the underlings actually have more charges against them than the brothers do, but there's a laundry list of charges. Now, in the second case that they were picked up for a second time and raided a second time, this is just in Romania still, there are 35 more victims between the 2 brothers, 28 of them attributable to Tristan, 7 of them attributable to Andrew. One of the Andrew victims is a 15-year-old girl who in 2020 was having regular sex with Andrew for whatever reason, but she's a child, she can't consent. They are charged with trafficking minors, with producing pornography with minors, with money laundering, with interference with public officials, and for interference with witnesses. So these aren't opinions, these are the charges against them just in Romania. And then in UK, there's also human trafficking, rape, and sexual battery. I don't know how many victims there are. We'll find out when they go to trial. But there is a series of victims there as well in the UK waiting for them. So eventually these guys are going to have to face the music. If they run now and they don't go back to Romania, then they're fugitives. Interpol could probably issue a warrant for them. I don't know exactly how that works. But if Romania is not done with them and they are supposed to be back by March 25th and they're not, then we see whatever fallout comes.
So how did they become sympathetic figures? How did they become somewhat a cause celeb for certain people in the conservative movement?
Well, the conservative movement values masculinity as opposed to toxic masculinity, right? Like we as men have been told, it's not good for us to be masculine anymore, and that's a huge issue on the right. It's one of the divisive issues for the last federal election. So when the Tates are doing their Manosphere broadcasts, where they're pumping up the guys and they're giving them all this self-help, go out and exercise, but like with Tate, everything's backwards, right? Like for him, He recommends smoking cigars because it raises your testosterone, which it doesn't, and to keep your nerves on edge all the time by drinking 10 cups of coffee a day. So it's garbage information, but people are getting sucked into it because they see the lifestyle that he's leading, except he didn't get there from doing the things that he's selling on his university courses, like mowing lawns and washing windows and scooping up dog shit. So people fail to understand that Tate made his money exploiting women to take the money out of pockets of men. Like every dime that Andrew Tate has came out of the pockets of a guy. The girls were exploited, and he kept some of their wages, but all those wages that came in, or all the tips and whatnot that would come in from whether it was Chatterbait or OnlyFans or wherever, everything went to Tate, and then he doled out whatever he figured, was the absolute minimum he could get away with and still keep the girl happy. But when he's selling courses on crypto or, window washing or whatever, that's not where Tate made his money. He made it all off of the guys. And if you remember from the first series that we went through together the last time I was here, it was all scams. It was all online scams. A lot of the money that Tate made was from making guys in these chat rooms believe that they had a shot with these girls, and then were trying to arrange meetings with the girls, and then, of course, they would never meet the girls, even though they had paid, in Tate's words, millions of dollars in tips just to get on these girls' good side and thinking that they had a shot with them. So there's a three-stage.
Go ahead.
There's a three-stage grooming process for both of them, for both females and males. For the females, it was locate them online. Once you locate them online, you do whatever it takes to get them onto TikTok, where they're comfortable performing in front of a camera. And then from TikTok, they got shoved into OnlyFans, where they're creating actual porn. So there's your 3 steps there. With the boys, the 3-step process is you're bringing guys in through word of mouth. You bring them into the real world where they're making $50 a month off of these guys or $60 a month. And then the final stage there is the war room where they're making $8,000 a year off of these guys. So, there's the grooming process. But the first step in the male grooming process is what you're seeing now with the red pill, the manosphere, the self-help, the regurgitated self-help. That's where the conservatives are seeing it. Right? There's nothing necessarily wrong with the information that he's giving in the first stage. But by the time you get to the third stage, like the War Room has chat forums where these guys that are paying all this money are talking to each other about how to break down their latest conquest that they fished off of the internet, how to trick them into tattooing their bodies with their names, how to keep them isolated, how to separate them from their friends, how to traffic them from their other countries, how to approach them on these social media sites. So that's what the War Room leaked chats have shown, is that these guys are sitting there back and forth, bragging about their latest conquest or asking guys for help with it. So, you have to see all the different layers. You can't just see the outside skin of the onion because the outside looks all right. But once you get down, there's a lot of rot at the core.
So there, from Candace Owens, who I like and respect and think she's courageous, I haven't understood her affinity or defense of Andrew Tate. I've seen others. I think Patrick Bet-David, Tucker Carlson did an interview with her, and everybody knows how much respect and love I have for Tucker Carlson, but I've seen a lot of people take an interest in Andrew Tate, interview him, perhaps in a non-aggressive way, and maybe they're in a foreign country, they're at his house. I would like, while he's here in America, I hope that he consents to some interviews, and maybe we'll see a more aggressive form of interview to try to get to the bottom of what he's actually doing and being asked some tough questions. But I'm going to ask you to speculate, and I know you don't really like to, you just like to stick to the facts, but if you had to speculate about why these top flight conservative influencers are caping up a bit for Andrew Tate, are they financially connected to him? Have they followed some of his non-pimp plans in terms of building a social media following, or maybe there have been involved with his war room or whatever? Is there some sort of financial connection here? Because generally speaking, you got to follow the money on things like this.
Well, Candace Owens has a 1-degree personal connection with Andrew Tate through her husband, George Farmer. Farmer and Tate are friends. I don't know how that happened, when it happened, whatever, but it goes back a ways. So Candace Owens, in one of her initial interviews or initial discussions about Tate, was saying how her Romanian assistant came up to her and said that, this guy's bad news. He's a pimp. Everybody knows he's a pimp. You really don't want to be talking to him. And she says that in one of her podcasts. And now she's just defending every move that they make. It's really, really remarkable how on her knees she is for these two brothers. Like, they can do no wrong in her eyes. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure how this is going to come back and bite her, but certainly when the Tates wind up in a courtroom, that's when all the veils are going to come off. That's when you're going to see whether or not they actually believed all the nonsense that they've been saying about the brothers, or whether they were just simply doing it for the clicks. Because like Tucker Carlson, none of these guys actually going into the interview had any clue what it takes to make up a charge of human trafficking, what it constitutes. So the AMP protocol, the action, the motivation, and the okay, so P is going to piss me off. I can't remember what that is right now. But the purpose, there we go. So action, motivation, and purpose. There's 3 columns. It's a UN protocol. You can find graphics of it just by typing that into Google, and you can see, under the A, what are the criteria? Under the M, what are the criteria? Under the P, what are the criteria? And if you match one criteria for each of them, then that results in a human trafficking charge. If the person is under the age of 18, according to the UN, they're a child, and the motivation doesn't matter. The middle column doesn't matter. So it's something along the lines of, for the lover boy method, it's recruiting through the means of deception for the purpose of sexual exploitation, financial exploitation. And these guys don't know that going into these interviews. So how do you conduct an interview with an accused human trafficker if you don't know how to formulate a human trafficking charge? Candace Owens couldn't do it. Piers Morgan didn't do it. Tucker Carlson didn't do it. PBD didn't do it. Nobody goes into that interview with a full understanding of what human trafficking is.
I would love, and I'm just keeping it, I'd love the opportunity to interview Andrew Tate. I would have to go back into the lab and just remember and do the research again on all the things that just like, I was like, and look, maybe I got way too much life experience, but it's not that difficult for me to recognize a pimp. And he had all the telltale signs, and I've been baffled that somehow he became so important that not Trump, but it seems like the Trump administration has become sympathetic towards Andrew Tate. And I get that masculinity is under attack. I just don't think Andrew Tate is any part of that solution. But common sense, I appreciate you coming back on to help me refocus in on this and just give the other side of this. Obviously, Andrew Tate's going to be here for 4 weeks. He's probably going to make a lot of media rounds, wouldn't you think? And so you'll get fresh new content to analyze. I expect him to be on some sort of media tour while he's here, don't you?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, there's, what was it? Was it Palm Beach Young Republicans? I forget the organization, but it's a Young Republicans organization in Florida, have invited him to speak to their membership. And I'm like, you don't want to be anywhere near these guys, right? The only difference between these guys and street level pimps is the following that they've got. They've got the following by spreading, basically nonsense that they've regurgitated from other people. But at their core, according to the charges, they are human traffickers, child rapists, money launderers, gangsters, and they have charges of trying to influence not only the witnesses in their cases, but also the local politicians. So, I mean, these are charges they're already up against. You don't want to be anywhere near them.
As a journalist, I want to interview everybody. And so Charles Manson, it doesn't matter. I want to interview any and everybody. I don't believe in, avoiding the tough interviews and people that have, everybody needs to have a say. These guys, they're claiming innocence. I want to hear them make the case for that. Last thing, common sense, and you don't have to dwell on long. Do you think someone like Joe Rogan may have raised his hand and said, yeah, I'll interview these guys?
There has been talk about a Rogan interview. It would be interesting to see, because Joe can go into an interview one of two ways. He goes into an interview, with example, with Elon Musk, and you know how little we think of Elon Musk. But he'll either go in and ask all the tough questions and get Musk like right into a corner and then not ask the last question that's the nail in the coffin on that particular topic, or he'll completely fanboy like Bill Maher did. So, it's all of these different interviewers, if they can't identify what human trafficking is and go in with full knowledge of at least one of the indictment documents that we have done. I mean, this information is out there, and they've got researchers. I'm sure you have researchers and producers and whatnot that go ahead and give you some pointers or a point sheet on different things that you can ask.
What do you mean? I got you. I got you in Crayon Murder. Is it Crayon Murders or Murder by Crayons?
Murder by Crayons.
You're my.
Yeah. Oh, Crayons is right on top of it, man. Like, he's got all the documents from Romania. He's a source for us. We're a source for him. The go-to for any of this is our Matrix of Lies series. There's the first one from 2023, Matrix of Lies. The new one that we put out, the Matrix of Lies, Brothers in Crimes. And then, that goes into not just Tate's, but into all the slimeball lawyer shit that Joe McBride has been doing. He's actually looking at disbarment or censure for his involvement in the Florida civil case where the Tate brothers are coming after their American victim, and she's starting to bite back. She's had enough of their crap, so she's anti-slapped them. And some of the details that have come out in that Florida civil case are exposing additional crimes that the Tates committed could elevate that civil trial to a criminal trial, as it should, under that extraterritorial sexual exploitation law.
Well, common sense. Thank you so much. Appreciate the information. We're going to continue the conversation.
If you ever want to have a debate with a pro versus our con, then you just say the word, we'll be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the information. Well, I'm going to continue this conversation. We're going to bring Delano Squires on here in a second. Delano has some thoughts on Andrew Tate, because I'm sincerely perplexed. Because, again, the people that have, on the conservative side, that have engaged with Andrew Tate, I like and respect and think that most of them are just on a search for truth. And look, I don't want to, I'm willing to forgive and take a new look at any and everybody, Patrick Bet-David or whatever, who I don't really like, but I don't know if I believe he's some force for negative. And again, maybe Candace Owens, maybe all these people have just been a tiny bit uninformed, but their support of Andrew Tate does give me pause and makes me say, hey, do I fully understand this? What am I missing? And his importance to the zeitgeist and this cultural war, this patriarchy versus matriarchal war. You guys have seen from me, Bryson Gray was on the show talking about Andrew Tate, Royce White back in the day, and these guys were not hardcore supporters of Andrew Tate, but they were holding their powder a bit as it related to Andrew Tate. And again, as it relates to Bryson, that's someone I respect. I think he's on a biblical journey. Royce is, a psyop or whatever, but I have some respect for Royce White, and he had a reluctance to really go at Andrew Tate. I've been baffled and perplexed. And I'm when I asked Delano to help me figure it out, I'm asking you all, honestly, if you get it and fully understand it, can tell me what it is I'm missing, email me at fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. I'm saying this sincerely. I want to understand this. And I would love if Andrew Tate, I know Tristan Tate has blocked me on X. I don't think Andrew Tate has. Would love to interview you guys while you're here in America. And I know that you probably got your choice of places to interview or whatever, and or maybe you're not looking for an interview that might be a bit more combative. But I've treated everyone fairly, and if you know anything about my background, part of the reason I can recognize what I think you are is because I've had friends in that line of work. Just keeping it real. So I'm not trying to. Again, someone like me that spent as much time in Las Vegas, and I've been very accurate about or very transparent about, the life I used to lead. And when you're running in and out of strip clubs the way that I was, you run into a lot of interesting, fascinating people. And so, anyway, I say all that to say Delano just around the corner. Before we get to Delano, I want to tell you guys part of this journey that I'm on. I know y'all think I'm being very arrogant when I say this, but I'm just being factual. I look amazing. I mean, can you not see how amazing I look? And part of that is because I've really, really improved my workouts. I've started lifting weights. Clearly, I've started eating a lot better. I'm only eating one meal a day. But the reason why I can be so active and start lifting weights, and I'm doing squats, and I'm doing bench press, and I'm doing all kinds of different lifts. I was on my Stairmaster for 30 minutes this morning before coming in here because I've incorporated Relief Factor into my daily routine. If you would like to get rid of some of your pain, or if not all of your pain, I'm telling you, Relief Factor needs to be a part of that choice, a part of that decision-making part of your routine. Relief Factor has helped me tremendously. I'm dealing with a lot less pain. I'm recovering faster from my workouts. It's allowing me to lose weight. It's allowing me to work out even harder. Today, started out this morning with, again, 30 minutes on the Stairmaster. After this show, I'm got to get my squats in and a day of lifting in the second part of the day. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps your body fight pain by fighting inflammation, which is the source of most pain in our bodies and a lot of disease. It's 100% drug-free, developed by doctors to help reduce or eliminate pain. More than 1 million people, just like me, have decided to incorporate Relief Factor into their routine. You can do the same with their Quick Start kit. 70% of the people that go on to order it again because they feel better every day. The 3-week Quick Start is only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Or visit relieffactor.com. And that's only, look, if you want to look good and feel as good as I do, 1-800-4-RELIEF. All right, don't go anywhere. Delano, Squires, Professor D. Next. I am Jason Whitlock, your host.
Went without so that he could give you an abundant life. Now it's time for you to evade the ego trip so that someone else can live better. Amen.
It's necessary that we decide to become men of character, of godly intent.
He gives power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increases strength. Even you shall faint and be weary. Young men shall utterly fall. Jason, I know you called it to preach off, but I feel like preaching up in here right about now.
right, welcome back. Delano, Squires, welcome back to the show. Delano, I'm going to just, somewhat just turn the floor over to you because I'm telling you, I'm dazed, I'm confused. I don't understand the Andrew Tate phenomenon, why he's important, why some people feel compelled to defend him. I don't get it. Take me through a starter course. Andrew Tate one-on-one. How did we get here? Why are we here? What am I missing?
So, Jason, I'm not really an official Andrew Tate historian, but I can tell you what I've seen and observed over the last couple of years, right? I think Andrew Tate is an important figure because he's an influential figure. And anyone who works, particularly with young men, talks about how often his name and his ideas come up, right? So he appeals to young men in the same way that professional athletes have always appealed to young men, right? Let's say from his perspective, he's tall, he's good looking, he's a fighter, right? So he can use his hands and his feet. He drives fancy cars. He's always surrounded by pretty women. He has a big house. And he's a guy who says, look, I can teach you guys how to get money. I can teach you guys how to get women. I can teach you guys how to drive nice cars and to have all the trappings of a successful life. But you just have to follow my instructions and the things that I'm saying. So I'm not surprised that he's an influential figure, and particularly given some of the things, obviously, that we talk about how society, particularly in the West, attacks men, denigrates men, says that all of society's problems are blamed on men. You have a voice who says, no, there's nothing wrong with being male. In fact, being a man is a great thing, and I'm going to show you how to be the best man that you can be, and if you follow my lead, you can have all the things that I have. So I understand the phenomenon in terms of why he is influential. Now, the issue is Andrew Tate represents many of the values that conservatives and Christians and people who have some sort of moral or ethical compass say that we stand against, right? He's sex crazed. He describes himself as a pimp. He talked about how he used at the point he was speaking, used sex to control women who would then work for him doing cam work. So basically OnlyFans before that was even, necessarily the company was around. And he talked about how he suckered men out of a lot of money because, they get, oh, this woman, she's really into me. And she's like, no, she plays like she's into you so that you give her money. And in fact, when you give her money, you're giving me money. All right. So he's playing on that sort of male desire for female affirmation and affection. And in many respects, to me, like that whole part of his persona is just a Ponzi scheme, right? He's making money off the gullibility and the insecurity of other men. Now, there's the criminal charges and all that. I don't even get into that because I don't have to read through court documents to get a sense of what Andrew Tate stands for because he talks about it incessantly. He's ubiquitous online, on podcasts of every different stripe, and he's constantly talking about his worldview and philosophy. And I think, and so I'm gonna put a pin in that. There's the other part of it where he speaks against traditional values. He's anti-marriage. When he talks about family, he's like, look, go to Colombia, go to Thailand, go to some third world country, right? Second or third world country, find you a nice looking woman, impregnate her, right? Send a few shekels every once in a while, keep her and the baby alive, come back to America, and you have your seed, right? Walking around, it's a little Tate baby, but you don't have to be bogged down with all the, the difficulty of raising a child, particularly raising the responsibility. So he's talked about that. Now, I've seen reports that he has 8 kids, 10 kids. I'm not sure. It's not something that he really talks about in specificity, but nothing that he stands for is pro-marriage, pro-family, pro-traditional values. He's talked about his upbringing, because apparently his father was a chess master, right? Internationally regarded chess master. But he's talked about the difficulty in terms of when his parents split. Now, his dad is an American. His mom is British. I believe he spent the early part of his years in America, and then the latter part in Great Britain. And when I hear him speak, I'll use your phrase first and I'll use mine. There's certain things about Andrew Tate that sound like he's a mixed nut, right? He has certain identity issues. When he gets online and he's talking about how much he hates the N-words with the hard R, I'm saying, oh, okay, I see the play. And I actually think this is one of the reasons that he's more palatable to conservatives. If Andrew Tate looked like Idris Elba, I'm not sure that the response to him from the same people would be exactly the same. That's just my speculation. So I think he has the makings of someone who is the worst type of person to follow. He's a tragic mulatto with serious daddy and mommy issues, who promotes degeneracy of the highest order. He's a scammer, right? And a person who I don't think should be followed or valorized. And I think the reason, and this is where I think he's actually important in terms of the broader conversations, it's not that Andrew Tate's views are not out there. They are. I think the issue is when people, particularly on the political right, embrace him as a symbol. Andrew Tate is being attacked by the globalists because he's one of the few men willing to stand up for what's true and what's right. That's where the problem lies. It's with a political ideology that can't pick a horse to save its life, who says, we are for anybody that the left is against. So if the leftists and the globalists and the Marxists are against you, we're for you. And he is again, his dad's a chess player. He is a smooth enough chess player to spot this Achilles heel and to spot this vulnerability and say, oh, this is an easy play. I'm going to talk against, the blacks and the Jews and the globalists. And people on the right are going to love me and eat it up, and the feminists, and they're going to eat it up because they'll say, I'm based, right? I'm giving them base takes. Add to that, when he starts comparing himself to Donald Trump. Now, Trump's attorney, one of his counselors, I think is Alina Habba. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. But when they were on a podcast together, I'm not going to use the word that I thought of, but she was giddy. I'll say giddy when she was speaking to her. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you. I mean, the screen was shining because everybody's teeth was so white. And I'm saying to myself, oh, I see the play. And she compared him to President Trump by saying, you both have come under attack from, globalists, nefarious entities who want to take you down and silence you. And I think his acceptance on sort of one part of the pro-MAGA coalition does not bode well for the larger conservative movement or for sort of the moral and ethical trajectory of our country. And that's why I think he's a person, I'm not saying, I would not make him a martyr, right? I'm not saying arrest him because he has bad views. I'm saying point out where his ideology does not even line up with itself. Because if young men think they've been sold a bad deal by feminists, they need to understand that Andrew Tate is really no different than Gloria Steinem. And I said this on Twitter last night, right? He's selling a particular message. Gloria Steinem in the 1960s was telling women, working for your husband is a bad deal. Marriage is a bad deal, right? Go out in the corporation. Go make your own money. Stand on your own 2 feet, right? You don't need a man to fulfill your life. And Andrew Tate is right there on the other side. This is the horseshoe theory in effect, right? On the far right, quote unquote, telling young men, marriage and family is a bad deal. Traditional values are a bad deal. Make your money, build your own empire, right? You don't need a woman to fulfill your life. And I think I would attack him in terms of his ideas. And I can do that without even getting into his, various legal and challenges and criminal court cases.
He has executed this, hey, I'm a victim card, and conservatives have fallen for it. Yes, he's a victim of the globalists and the feminists and, the DEI crowd or whatever, and he's played that game, and that's, I see it like if he weren't in these legal problems, I don't think he would be leaning as hard into the conservative alleged values or playing this whole victim. But it was like, hey, how can I get someone to defend these horrible things that I've been accused of? Well, I'll pretend like I'm a Trump supporter, and and because I get to pretend that I'm half black, and he is half black. It's like, hey, I'm a half black Trump supporter, and people are rallied around. We need black supporters, and we need black men, and so let's not kill Andrew Tate because that will hurt us with black men. And again, this is where I like politics gets in the way of truth and righteousness, and that's the real danger that I see here, because I agree with you. The defense of Andrew Tate is like, I saw Dave Portnoy posted on Twitter that like, hey, I thought we were against bringing in criminal imports. You know, hey, we're closing up the border. Why are we opening our arms to a guy that's facing serious criminal allegations in 2 different countries? It involves at least one American woman. It seems like we would say, nah, let's press pause, stay over there till you get your legal stuff figured out. But we're so caught up in politics, we've thrown out our values once again.
Absolutely. And you talk about this all the time, Jason, in terms of the dangers of idolatry. And one of the ways you know you're serving an idol is by what you're willing to sacrifice for it. And to your point, people sacrifice the truth. They sacrifice the values that they claim that they hold in order to justify why they are, in many respects, worshiping what it is that they're worshiping at this time, right? Again, Andrew Tate had court cases in Romania. I wasn't interested enough to be going through that sort of stuff. I'm not. He's not on my radar. He's not moving the needle in terms of where I live, the communities in which I navigate. But I'll say this. When Brittany Griner got in a legal jam in Russia for some vape, cannabis materials or whatever, there were people on the right saying, good, leave her there. You have to follow the laws in that country and so on and so forth, right? They're willing to bring down the hammer. When Andrew Tate, who again, I'm not even sure when's the last time he's even lived in America, right? I thought the guy was British, and now he's been in Romania for years, right? When he gets in legal trouble, and like many people in this era, not just this generation, because the thing is, Andrew Tate is almost 40 years old, so he's not like some 24-year-old, but he can't keep his mouth shut, right? So his own loose lips are going to sink his ship. So when he's on tape saying, I got the girl, she was 15, or you punched a woman in the face and then you make her love you. So when he gets himself in a jam, now everybody's saying, oh, he's an American citizen. We have to bail him out. And my thing's like, look, if that's the lane you want to play in, you want to be, iceberg slime, or that's your persona, then you got to deal with it. If I went to Abu Dhabi or Saudi Arabia or something, and I want to open up a barbecue on the center street, and I got an illegal jam with them, people will say, you go over there doing stupid stuff, now you got to deal with it. But it's the fact, not just that people are cheering him, it's the fact that it seems like the Trump administration is using political capital to get Andrew Tate back from Romania, and in some ways, again, support him as a global figure, because he's talked about running for Prime Minister of Great Britain. That, to me, is the colossal mistake. And in the same way, Jason, I'm sure you remember a couple years ago, the conservative, commentator David French, who got slammed on the right when he said that, drag queen story hour is a blessing of liberty, right? And people say, well, this guy's morals is all messed up. I don't think the right needs to take on make pimps great again. We don't need that campaign. We don't need the conservative case for pimping in the United States. So my thing is less about the legal troubles and more about adopting and accepting and co-signing and running cover for an ideology that is both anti-human, anti-family, and anti-marriage.
Delano, thank you. Really love the Brittany Griner analogy because I was one of those people. It's like, hey, man, Brittany Griner wrote a check, let her stay over there, and we certainly shouldn't be trading the merchant of death for Brittany Griner. And that's how I feel about Andrew Tate. It's like, man, he got himself, and I remember a year and a half ago, I watched all that stuff that came out of his mouth. I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, this dude told on himself. What are we doing here? Why we feel sympathetic? He's calling himself a pimp. He's I don't get it. I don't get it. But thank you, Delano, for helping me get it. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Guys, I want to talk to you about one of the benefits of going on one meal a day. I get to eat really good that one meal a day. And I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, Omaha Steaks hit me with all their great stuff, the steaks, the burgers, French fries. And again, not that I'm eating really good, but in limited amounts, they've sent me their desserts and all this other stuff. Holy cow, is it awesome. Oh, when I eat that one meal a day and I include the stuff from Omaha Steaks in it, I'm in heaven. Omaha Steaks, from legendary steaks to classic comfort food, bring home the exceptional handcrafted flavor and convenience of Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety. Every bite is backed by their 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. The fan-favorite filet mignon, it's awesome, has earned the coveted distinction of USDA certified tender. 5 generations of uncompromising quality backed by an unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Omaha Steaks has been America's original butcher since 1917. A family-owned company with more than 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, love them, chicken, love it, pork, seafood, dessert, and easy-to-prepare comfort food. Don't miss the semi-annual sale at Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide, and for an extra $30 off, use the promo code FEARLESS at checkout. Did you hear that? 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with the promo code FEARLESS at checkout. I love you, Omaha Steaks. Love you. All right, Steve Kim, we'll do a deep dive in the sports world next.
The View needs to be next. I'm so sick of hearing these women.
That was going to be my follow-up. There are rumors that they're going to shake up The View. And they always say, yeah, we're going to put some conservative women on The View or blah, blah. But they're always, to me, half-baked conservatives because, again, they tend to be feminists. And, feminism is a disease. It's the silent killer. And whether it's conservative feminists or liberal feminists, it's going to be an avoidance of truth. And so, I'd love to see them put someone like Allie Beth Stuckey on there, or somebody with a pair, or someone like yourself. They really, honestly, they should put someone like you on there. There would be some real fireworks. That there would be some real disagreement, and someone finally, again, like a defense of male leadership. You'll never hear that on network TV.
Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps. I see that you up here below. So
all right, welcome back, Steve Kim. An interesting choice of words I'm about to talk with you about. Front Office Sports has written a story on Joy Taylor, who's been MIA this week on Speak. Not Speak for Yourself anymore, it's just called Speak. But Front Office Sports writing, Taylor missed the shows because she was sidelined by the network, sources told Front Office Sports. The apparent infraction that led Taylor to be off the program for at least 4 days was not immediately known. A spokesperson for Fox Sports declined to comment, and a spokesperson for Taylor did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So, Steve, Joy Taylor, you guys know her. She's got big cans, a big rack. She's got peanut butter skin. You guys, you know the deal. She's was involved or was named in a lawsuit by Nushin, the hairstylist that worked at Fox Sports, that alleged that Skip Bayless offered her $1 million to get in those panties. You guys know the story. Joy Taylor sidelined a week after or shortly after the Super Bowl. What do you think of the choice of the word sideline rather than suspended or fired? What should we read into that?
Well, Jason, this is the ironic part. The last time someone suddenly stopped showing up on that particular show never came back, and that was you. I'm just telling you.
Maybe it's big cans, big racks are not welcome there. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, it's interesting. So yesterday on my timeline, people started tweeting back at me Jason Whitlock memes again. And I go, wait, what's going on here? I mean, you've probably gotten them already. I was like, oh, so that happened.
Yeah.
So that happened. So I'm not going to lie to you, Jason. I thought she had weathered the storm. Think about it. It was a big story in early to mid-January. Everyone, including ourselves, talked about it. It was the biggest story in sports media for at least, 2 weeks. And I have a theory about the news cycle. If you can survive the opening salvo and you just keep at it and keep at it, the attention fades, it goes away, and then people go on to the next story. And there's a part of me that thought that had actually happened with Miss Taylor, because to be perfectly blunt, I hadn't even thought about this story since the last time you and I talked about it here on Fearless. That was at least, a month ago? So now to suddenly pop up, this is what I think. This is just a theory, and I have no inside sources there. They did their due diligence. Fox was going to say, we're going to be loyal. We're going to see if this is all just a lot of nothing, and we're going to try to see if we can survive this. But maybe there's enough smoke that they decided, you know what, this is a fire.
Well, my understanding is that Joy is in a bit of a contract jam. I think that her contract expired or expires at some point, and it was up in the air whether they wanted to renew her contract. And that this controversy actually put her in a better position. That because in terms of getting renewed and being retained, because if they let her go, does she become an out-of-the-closet adversary and the lawsuit mushrooms? And she does make these accusations, not just about Charlie Dixon, but about the entire culture. And so maybe they just want to hold on to Joy until this thing really, really blows over, until they can resolve the deal with the Nushin, until they can, and the Julie Stewart-Binks jumped into this. Maybe they want to resolve all of this, and so maybe they're just kicking they got to do something, and so they're sidelining her. But now that I think that through, this whole sidelining and taking her off the air just draws attention to the whole thing and kind of reignites the story. I don't know what the logic is here. Her reputation, she's kind of a laughingstock. I don't think she's an anchor for that show now that her reputation's been that destroyed. I don't know if I have a great theory on what they're thinking here. I know they're in a contract deal with Colin Cowherd that's going to be very, very expensive. I do think they're going to retain him. It's my understanding. I think that, the Charlie Dixon has also been sidelined, as far as I know. He has not returned. I'm not sure if they may not know what they're doing, and they just may be kicking the can down the road.
Jason, think about this. When you've covered an organization in sports and someone's on the hot seat, or there's rumors of a general manager, he may be on thin ice, or a manager, and you call, what is the phrase that they always use before whatever decision is made? Oh, it's just business as usual. And they really don't sideline anybody until they make a decision. To me, as long as they would have just let Joy do the show, I don't know if this would have popped up again. By actually sidelining her, you made it a story again because now we all go all over Stone. And so now you bring up Colin Cowherd and his contract negotiation, which I didn't know about. Business as usual there. I actually heard him yesterday on the way to the office. And I want to make this distinction in terms of importance. Last week, as I'm going into the office to the Bel Air of East LA, Montebello, when Colin was not on the air, they had some pinch hitters. It wasn't the same. It really wasn't. And look, I've had my criticisms of Cowherd, but I actually have a lot of respect for him. I do. And as soon as I heard it wasn't him, I just said, okay, let me go to my Prince CD. Yeah, I still have those, by the way. But now, yesterday, when Colin was back for my 25-minute drive in off the 60, I listened to it. Now, with Joy Taylor, if they suddenly got another pretty face to stick in there with Keyshawn, Paul Pierce, and Michael Irvin, I don't know if that show really misses a beat, does it?
I don't think the show has a beat. I don't think it has a heartbeat. I mean, just keeping it real.
So it's offbeat.
That's not
Okay.
that's not blasting any of those guys personally. My position, I'm sorry for saying this because it makes me seem arrogant, but when I left, I was like, okay, this show has died. They're not gonna, you can't resuscitate it. And I'm not sure if they have any interest in resuscitating it because I don't think they have a true desire for that time slot or that show to be successful. They turned it into their DEI show, and they don't have a sincere interest. Yeah. What they have a sincere interest in is retaining Cowherd and promoting Nick Wright as the next Skip Bayless. That's what their interest is. It's been their interest for a long time. And these things are decided a long time ago.
Jason, I'm gonna make an analogy here that you may or may not like, but the Camelot of Speak for Yourself was really the first 3 years. It was either with you and Colin or you and Marcellus. And then as soon as you left, and I think I told you this, we barely knew each other, I gave Acho about a week. That's all I gave him. And I just said, I'm off. I tried to stay on board, but it's kind of like Different Strokes. Remember Different Strokes? Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. That's probably my first favorite sitcom of all time, even before Happy Days, right? But the show was never quite the same without Mrs. Garrett. As soon as she went off to do Facts of Life, and as soon as Arnold got a little taller, the show was never the same. So there's an apex and there's a certain chemistry to every show. And once you disrupt it, Jason, I think it's almost impossible to recapture that.
That's certainly the case for that. Let's keep it moving. Your boy LeBron James had something interesting to say, Steve. He talked about this whole conversation about being the face of the league. Anthony Edwards says he doesn't want the responsibility. Isn't that Wemby's job? And LeBron James broke out his violin when asked about it. Let's take a listen.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but I don't know. Why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that that cover our game and talk about our game on a day-to-day basis on everybody? I mean, that responsibility, is just weird. It's weird energy from the people that, I don't know. But Channing, he said it. He said it perfectly. Couldn't have said it no better. But Ant said he don't want it. Obviously I didn't ask for it. But I knew there was a responsibility for me, not only to my family, my friends, my community, and whoever that was going to follow my journey throughout my career. Not only in Ohio when I started there, but all over America and all over the world when I traveled all over the world. So I've always taken that seriously and understood from the beginning what being a professional was all about and being a role model was all about. So try to hold that with the utmost respect and honor. And but I feel and I understand. I completely understand. This is weird energy when it comes to that.
So the face of the China Basketball League, to me, took a direct shot at Charles Barkley and the inside the NBA crew. And, you know, why would anybody want to be the face of the league when, you know, these former players, and he almost said the word players and then he changed up, but, you know, are taking all these shots at me is basically what he's doing. He's whining about how come he's not being celebrated, how come these guys aren't pretending like I'm better than Michael Jordan. How did you hear it?
This is very clear, Jason. I think a day or two ago, I talked about the mainstream media mantras that are the approved messaging, right? We have a constitutional crisis. J.D. Vance is weird. Oh, the party and the campaign of joy. It's clear now these players and media are shiting on us. In other words, we're going to Ted on you guys. It's clear that is the new messaging that Clutch Sports is trying to disseminate out there. I mean, forget Napa Valley. This wine is fine. I don't get it. Being the face of the league is an honor that you earn. It is not a burden. And the reality is, to go back to Channing Frye, he really bothered me with what he said, Jason. And I want to bring it back to that, because this is where it starts from. You ever been to a great restaurant that you loved, that was just top notch? And then all of a sudden the quality dips. The people stop showing up. They get food poisoning to their people. They get salmonella. The service is bad. But then the chef, who may have some Michelin stars on his resume, he doesn't look inward and say, I need to get better. He says, oh my God, it's these ungrateful customers. Give me a break. It's not that the past was perfect or that those who covered it back then covered it up, because that is not the truth as it relates to LeBron or Jordan or Kobe. Kobe and LeBron and Jordan all had their skeptics. The bottom line is only one of them really whined about it. Okay, so this whole notion that we whitewash the past and just rip the present, that is such a dishonest argument. And the reality is this: there is no face of the league except LeBron, because the league right now, to me, has lost the common touch with the everyday fan. It's unlikable, and the epicenter of much of it began in 2010 when a certain player said, I will take my talents to South Beach.
Here's what I would say, and LeBron this is where I'll really disagree with LeBron. There's not widespread criticism of Steph Curry. And no. There's just not. Steph Curry is mostly liked, and it's not because everything Steph Curry does is perfect, because it's not. But he's mostly liked, and people kind of leave him alone. He hasn't been as strident politically as LeBron, and he hasn't ring chased the way LeBron has in terms of jumping from team to team. He hasn't tried to overtake organizations the way LeBron has. LeBron fought with Dan Gilbert. LeBron fought with Pat Riley. LeBron fought with every coach he's nearly had. He's had dispute. Steph Curry has basically played for, he's played for one organization, and I think he's had two head coaches, Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr, and seemed to have gotten along with both of them really well. So LeBron produces a lot of turbulence, and that's on him. It's when you're like, it would be like me complaining that, hey, I got a lot of critics. Well, Jason, you criticize a lot of people. Yeah. You invite tension and all that other stuff. LeBron wants to be a victim, and you guys haven't appreciated my greatness. And so who would want to be the face of the league? There's this weird energy where people have called me out for abandoning my hometown, for partnering up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, for melting down in the 2011 finals, for not getting along with Kyrie Irving. People have criticized me for this, and it's like Jason McIntyre, Colin Cowherd's sidekick, has heard this message of, hey, Charles Barkley and inside the NBA, they're the bad guys. If they would just sell this bad product, if they would just
Right.
worship LeBron James, the NBA would have no problems. As if we're not smart enough to figure out, hey, man, I don't like this steak's no good. I asked for medium. This is well done steak.
Yeah, in other words, he wants Charles Barkley and the like to be the CNN and MSNBC to the Democratic Party. I mean, that's the truth of it. I mean, I think back. Michael Jordan for years, especially coming into about 90, what was the criticism, Jason? And you were probably one of them. You admit it. You were actually a critic of Michael Jordan till you started to appreciate the greatness much later in his career, which, by the way, that's fair. That is your right. But the perception was that Jordan was a ball-dominant ball hog who, unlike Magic and Bird, did not make his teammates better, and that a leading scorer like him could never lead a team to an NBA title. And even though he was probably the best player by 87, 88, people would not give him that crown fully till he beat the Lakers in 91. And then it became even obvious to Magic Johnson, Laker homers like me, that guy's the best. Okay. Now look at Kobe. I'm going to go all scap attack here because I lived through it and I live in LA and I was a diehard Laker fan now in recess. What was the criticisms of Kobe? He's a ball hog. He's a brat. He's not great with other people. And we are Team Shaq, and people piled on. So when Channing Frye says it wasn't all clean with those guys, you're right. And we actually said it, or the media did. Channing Frye is being intellectually dishonest when he says that we wrote, or when you guys, the working media back then, wrote these tales of everything being so perfect, because it wasn't. And guess what? They actually said it.
Said it in real time, and the athletes weren't whining about it. Now, what I will say is different. I'll defend LeBron. Again, there was no social media. There was more of a quiet space, a safe space for athletes. If you know, some athletes really didn't read the newspaper. Some athletes really didn't go online and read everything written about them. Now, because they've decided they all must be on social media, they see and hear a lot more of the criticism. Because let's say that LeBron James doesn't, and you know, he unfollowed me on Twitter a long, long time ago, but he still hears what I have to say because other people will copy him in what I say or make sure it gets in front of his face on social media. And so these guys do justifiably feel more under attack than the previous generation, but they don't have to be on social media. That's a choice. They make enough money playing basketball that they don't have to do all these other things that they think they have to do. Steve, I want to move on to, and this is probably the topic I'm probably the most passionate about today, and we'll cover this and I'll let you go. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're welcoming John Gruden back into their Ring of Honor. I think in 2021, when John Gruden got lynched and strung up by Roger Goodell and the media that Roger Goodell controls over emails that, you know, private emails that he exchanged where he didn't speak in politically correct terms, called Roger Goodell the F word, said DeMaurice Smith, who was the executive director of the NFL Players Association, said he had big rubber lips. The guy does have big rubber lips. Everybody whined and cried, and John Gruden lost his job, was forced out with the Raiders, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took him out of their Ring of Honor. Well, now they've caught religion and believe in forgiveness. Let me read the Buccaneers statement. John Gruden was initially inducted into the Bucs Ring of Honor based on his many accomplishments during his 7 seasons as our head coach, and he remains a significant figure in the history of our franchise. Upon further reflection, we have decided to reinstate him in the Buccaneers Ring of Honor. Do we give Tampa credit here, or do we scold Tampa and own it? The Glazer family, I think, still owns the Buccaneers. Do we scold them for not sticking with John Gruden from the get-go?
A little bit, or maybe a lot of both. here's my view of it. Let's say we had a hot tub time machine to 3 years ago, whenever this happened, right? And let's say the Buccaneers just never said anything. And no matter what anyone was protesting, if people had picket signs to get John Gruden's name off the side of the stadium or inside the railing of it, what would have really happened? Nothing. People would have just given up. It's like most modern day activism. People would have been enraged for about 10 minutes. Then they would have gotten bored. And then they would have found something else to get upset about. Now, I'm glad this happened, and I'm glad John Gruden, I believe, is going to graciously accept it. Because if he wants to go back into the National Football League and eventually coach again, I kind of feel as though this should be part of the, I don't know what to call it, the healing process. But yeah, I actually think the Glazers should have never done anything to begin with. Jason, I'm not a big fan of statues and monuments coming down. They're a part of our history. Nobody is perfect. You know, when you start taking down statues of our founding fathers, I am vehemently against that in place of other individuals who I believe have brought no value to the United States. That should be looked upon as a very, very dark, demented time in American society, what happened in 2020 and 21. But I also have to say, and I hope I'm not being a hypocrite, I do give the Buccaneers organization credit for actually maybe backtracking and said, okay, maybe we overreacted. Let's go back to at least recognizing John Gruden.
Steve, here's why I give him no credit. And the Pro Football Hall of Fame had already established a precedent. O.J. Simpson has never been removed from Canton. If O.J. Simpson can be in Canton, Ohio, John Gruden should have stayed in the Ring of Honor. The Pro Football Hall of Fame, they set the standard. Like, hey, guys, and trust me, there's other guys in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that have written worse emails than John Gruden. And it never made sense to me. And this isn't, I'm not recreating history. When Randy Moss, and I know he's got cancer and I feel sorry for him, and I have, honestly, I can legitimately say I've prayed for Randy Moss over his cancer diagnosis. But it's one of the most cowardly, despicable things I've ever seen, what he did on ESPN in real time, trying to get John Gruden eliminated over DeMaurice Smith and all this other phony racial crap they hit John Gruden with. Play the clip of Randy Moss. I just refresh everybody's memory.
We give guys these big contracts because they want to be able to lead 70 men, coaches, equipment staff, and managers to the number one goal, and that's to win the championship. And for us to be moving back and not forward in 21st century, like I said, man, National Football League, this hurts me. The clock is ticking, man. I'm sorry.
It's one of the most despicable. It's one of the most despicable things I've seen in the media. For a man that sat in football locker rooms since he was a little kid, all the way through college and the pros, and John Gruden, we were going backwards. DeMaurice Smith, he said DeMaurice Smith had rubber lips. The shit that gets said in the locker room, and the stuff that Randy Moss has participated in inside of a locker room or with guys that hang out in a locker room, and then you strung up John Gruden. And again, as upset as I was then with Randy Moss, I was really upset with the media and all the cowards that wouldn't defend John Gruden. And because in real time, everybody should have figured, hey, man, this is bogus BS. This is this man's private emails. And say what the hell he wants in his private emails. The stuff that I say over texting and emails, or used to, I don't say much anymore. The stuff that I say in private, I make John Gruden look like a saint, and so do all of you. And it was the lack of courage among media members and Randy Moss and everybody that, all the former players that know what goes on in the locker room, what gets said in the locker room environment. And I was the only one to roast Randy Moss, and Randy Moss wanted to fight me. Remember, he tweeted out on site.
On site.
It's in one
Jason,
of the most
I've never understood this.
Yeah.
When Randy Moss said the clock is ticking, what clock? The play clock? The game clock? What? I've never understood what clock is ticking, and I have to give give guys like Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp a lot of credit because I believe they came out and actually defended John Gruden. Said, no, he used to use that all the time. It was just a term for like guys running their mouth too much. It was not like this. And then, given their stature and the fact that they are black men, they must have been called every name in the book, and you know which names. But they said, no, we know this guy. And in terms of the media, the white guilt was at an all-time. See, that was the real pandemic of 2020 and 21. White guilt. It was not that other thing. And it's really too bad there's no vaccine for that, because I still think there's a lot of white guilt in media. I think it's lessening now, but unfortunately, Jason, you know this is the truth. To work for certain media outlets, mostly mainstream, you have to have an abundance of it to either get employed or stay employed.
You're 1,000% right. And this was in the aftermath of George Floyd and all the Black Lives Matter stuff. But they owe John Gruden and a lot of people an apology. The NFL and Roger Goodell and Troy Vincent and the people that allowed this to go on, this crushing of people's reputation in their little political move. Because John Gruden actually was like the NFL's version of Donald Sterling. And it's not that I'm serious, it's not that I'm some Donald Sterling defender. But I said in real time, like, hey man, Donald Sterling talking to his mistress in private, we're actually going to use this to take someone down? And I was just, all the mistresses that Magic Johnson had, all the mistresses that all these athletes have had, the stuff that guys say to their wives and or mistresses, and we're taking Donald Sterling down over a private conversation and him telling his girl, his mistress that he's paying for, his sugar baby, hey, I don't want you screwing around with them black dudes. Are you kidding me? You know how many black dudes have told some woman who they do and don't want them to be having sex with, or if you slept with this person? I mean, it's just so common. Men quit being men and started acting like little women, and every little word that comes out of another man's mouth cuts like a knife. It doesn't. It's a bunch of gays. Randy Moss and all, and again, I don't know who Randy, but he's acting like a gay person, overly sensitive. And they all need to repent. Anyway, I'm telling you, this was the issue I was most passionate about. Steve, I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, well, the clock was ticking.
Before I get in more trouble. Yeah, before I get in more trouble, because again, all the stuff I just said is like, oh my God, I can't believe Whitlock just said that. He said what he really thinks. Doesn't he know that we're supposed to all sit around and pretend like, we're all, anyway. Shamika Michelle, next. Welcome to Extra Fearless with Welcome to Extra Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Oh my God, Lyndon Johnson, his thoughts are so disgusting. I can't believe you would engage with him. The celebration for being a slut have never been greater. Why do you choose Taylor Swift, and why do you pick up a role as, let me help my woman undress on stage in front of an audience?
When I look at people like Sexy Red or Cardi B that we prop up, now I see that the white community as well is just as fried.
It does look to me like he made some eye contact with her and then just decided, nah, let me move on. The BET Awards seems like a psyop at this point. It's just Democratic brainwashing. Get in there and fight for all the things. Steve, that's it for you. I'm done. All right, welcome back. Shamika, the phase one, they're now calling it, of the Epstein files got released yesterday. And man, you want to talk about a nothing burger. White Castle burgers are thicker than that Epstein file, more fulfilling. It's kind of made me give up on the Epstein files. And these people that, and God bless them, I like them all, but the people that participated in the photo op holding up the binders of the Epstein files, I don't know what to make of any of this. I've given up. I don't think anything's ever going to become of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the photo op was bad. I thought it looked really bad. I think it didn't go over the way they planned. And I'm starting to give up as well. You know, I was reminded that Pam Bondi was actually the Attorney General of Florida, which was the state where Jeffrey Epstein was committing all of these crimes. And nothing happened when she was in charge there. I'm also told that she's good friends with the sheriff who was just reelected of Palm Beach, and that he was actually accused of some things back then, and that maybe she's covering for him. So it really is discouraging. It's starting to feel like there are no files, and if there are files, we'll never get to see them. All of this phase one foolishness was ridiculous. And I'm thinking, listen, if there are people who actually traffic young girls, which we know there was, you know, he actually went to prison, and now Maxwell is in prison. And who are they trafficking these girls to? Someone has to have this information. Why it's taking so long, I don't know. Why no one else is going down and being punished for these crimes, I don't know. But it's starting to feel like they're just jerking us around. Even with the new administration, people keep saying, be patient. But it's almost starting to feel like the whole QAnon after Trump, you know, so-called lost in 2020, where they kept saying, you know, he's going to be president in 2 weeks or 2 months, or when JFK comes back, trust the process. I'm getting tired of trusting the process. It's just starting to seem like one big fat lie.
Here's the ramifications if this whole Epstein thing goes away. It's going to free Diddy. Because if the Epstein thing just turns into a big nothing burger and Epstein allegedly killed himself and Ghislaine or whatever her name is, Maxwell, is the only person that goes down in the Epstein deal, people are going to, and I hate to say it, it's going to be appropriately, they're going to play the race card on Diddy. Like, oh, Epstein and Maxwell, they did all that and no one really went down. And this is going to be, and now y'all want to come after Diddy in an extra, you know, way and expose anybody on the Diddy tapes. And so, again, it's like Diddy may go down, but no one that participated in anything Diddy did will go down, because that's the precedent and standard they just set with the Epstein files. This whole thing is starting to look like, oh, they picked out a handful of scapegoats that they're comfortable pretending they killed themselves or allowing to kill themselves, or a couple people go to jail. But in terms of exposing everybody, it's just not going to happen. Because I'm just going to tell you that if we really cared about kids, whatever her name, Giselle Maxwell or whatever, they would have her strung up outside, tied to several trees until she spilled the beans on every child that was harmed and every person that participated in harming a child. If we were serious about what has been done, we know kids have been sexually trafficked. We know that sexual perversion is running wild. We would force these people to tell the truth, but we haven't done that, and it doesn't look like we have the courage. It's almost like the JFK files. And how much time are you giving these people to destroy these files?
Right.
I've become very cynical about the whole thing. I'll give you the final thought.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to playing the race card, Jason, it may be me, because if we're not going to hold these people accountable, free R. Kelly. I could use a good, new album. So I may be the one playing the race card. I do think that if we really care about human trafficking, and we know that it is rampant here in the United States, something would have been done a long time ago. We talk about the tunnels. They tell us about, the underground living and how these children are abducted and treated, and nothing's ever done. People in positions of power, I believe, are some of the main culprits, and that's why we keep getting the runaround and nothing is happening. We will constantly say, oh, look at what Hillary did to Haiti, but Hillary's still walking around and nothing has happened to her. We can talk about the flight logs. We can talk about, all of the things that people in Hollywood are doing when it comes to kids or young adults or women and just trafficking them, but nothing is ever done. So I truly believe that it's people in positions of power that are benefiting, whether it's sexually or financially, and I'm starting to lose hope. I agree, string up Maxwell and make her spill the beans, but we haven't done that. I'm surprised she's still alive, but maybe because they know she's not going to talk, she's not going to say anything, and they can just keep getting away with it.
Thank you, Shamika. I got to keep it moving. We're going to play some Listen or Lose just around the corner. Where's my bell? Yeah, it's time to end the week with some Listen or Lose. Butter's around the corner. Make sure you guys are visiting fearlessrollcall.com. Make sure you're making plans to be here May 2nd or 3rd. We got a treat for you. Next week, I'm going to announce some additional things that are going on with Roll Call 3.0. Tickets are just $100. Right now, you go to Fearless Roll Call, the all-day Saturday event, it's just $100. You got the VIP events listed on there. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Listen or Lose. Next. I am Jason Whitlock, your host.
Went without so that he could give you an abundant life.
Young men shall utterly fall. Jason, I know you called us to preach off, but I feel like preaching up in here right about now.
All right, it's my favorite time of the week. Time to end the week with a little Listen or Lose. We're going to make someone a little richer, give them $100 in Bitcoin from the Fold app. Make sure you have downloaded the Fold app, foldapp.com/Whitlock. And if you want to play this game, and if you want to start acquiring some Bitcoin, Butter's in the house. Who are our contestants today? Lewis Parks.
We got them covering the spectrum today, Jason.
Holly M.
NYC, and Texas, NYC.
And Gordon Jackson. All right. Holly's back. Holly, I know Holly loves me because I made her the winner.
She's the defending
champion. So I'm
and I'm
rooting
wearing
for
my
you,
Jesse
Holly.
Lee Peterson shirt today.
Oh, are you a fan of Jesse Lee?
Yes, I am.
Holy cow. Take 20 seconds and explain to me why you love Jesse Lee Peterson.
I love him because he fights for truth. He doesn't let like racial things and like what the left is trying to do like control him and like affect his decisions. He's a Christian. I just love him.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's interesting. All right, Gordon, introduce yourself very quickly. Gordon, where are you from? Who are you?
What's up, y'all? My name is Gordon. I currently just moved to Nashville, so I'm actually here, Jason. And I just moved here from California, and I like to tell all my Nashvilleian people that I came from California to adopt the Nashville culture, not add to it. So
Awesome. Awesome. It's good to have Gordon on because a lot of people think that this show is homophobic, but having Gordon on actually,
dispels that
dispels that. So it's having Gordon on from California, that's actually good. Thank you, Gordon.
We welcome everybody.
Yeah, we do welcome everybody. Thank you. Lewis Parks, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on? This is Lewis Parks from Texas, El Paso, Texas. Jason, big fan of the show. And I just gotta say, Steve Kim is my favorite American Asian in the world.
Lewis right there on the border in El Paso. Isn't El Paso on the border? So I'm sure you probably agree with me and Trump on illegal immigration.
He's a truck driver. He's on the road right now.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. All right, well, is Lewis number one?
Lewis is first.
Lewis, let's go here.
And Holly's second.
Yep.
All right, Lewis, good luck, buddy. Big Lou, that's what they call him on the road. That's his handle.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Which magazine featured Zaya Wade on the cover? Was it A, Out Magazine, B, 17, C, Vanity Fair, or D, Teen Vogue?
Oh, that's B.
17 magazine, he's accurate.
That's right.
Next.
Jason said Stephen A. Smith was lacking blank.
Pair of balls.
A pair of balls?
No, that's not one. But here, go ahead, give him an
alternate. Was it A, a jump shot, B, moral compass, C, Max Kellerman, or D, common sense?
It could be any of them, but I'm gonna go with B.
Woo! Hot start,
man,
Jason.
Lewis watches the show. Next.
Steve Kim presented his movie Mount Rushmore. Which movie was omitted? Was it A, The Godfather, B, North Dallas 40, C, Karate Kid, or D, Gung Ho?
Steve Kim, that's
tough
A.
question. Oh, dang, I thought that. Yeah, Steve.
Anytime the word Godfather is an answer possible, I probably would go with it based on your love for the movie.
Oh, all right. Next.
Jason suggested that MSNBC replace Joy Reid with blank. Was it A, Tamron Hall and Sophie Cunningham? Beauty. B, Allie Beth Stuckey and Omarosa? C, Kellyanne Conway and Omarosa? Or D, Allie Beth Stuckey and our very own Shamika?
Yeah, I'll go with D.
He's right again.
He went black on us.
Yeah, he
Jason.
did.
Was
He did.
Protecting something?
Yeah, there we go. He's back. Next.
Maybe it was Shamika.
He's 4 for 4.
Floyd Mayweather said blank was the best president ever. Was it A, Bill Clinton, B, Barack Obama, C, Jimmy Carter, or D, Donald Trump?
Depending on how these 4 years go, it's going to be D, Donald Trump.
He went 5 for 5. All right, let's see what Holly's got. Holly, you got
Trying to
pressure
take my
on you,
title.
But yeah, you know who's got your back. All you
gotta do is come close. Holly, just come close.
Come close. Anyway, let's go, Butter.
All right, Jason said blank should host his proposed NBA All-Star game way off between Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley. Was it A, Tiger Woods, B, Ernie Johnson, C, Shaq, or D, Mike Tyson?
OMG, I do not remember. I'm gonna go
Have you had an apple lately? Have you had an apple today?
She's from New York.
Oh, she has. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So what time's our tea time on Sunday?
I think it's 10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Holly. What's your guess?
I think it's going to be Tiger Woods.
Good guess.
Good guess. Good job, Holly. Next.
Jason said Kobe Bryant's legacy. You got it. Jason said Kobe Bryant's legacy aged well, comparing him to, was it A, Michelangelo, B, Van Gogh, C, Liberace, or D, Andy Warhol?
A, Michelangelo.
Next.
Steve Kim said he spent his childhood rewatching which movie? Was it A, Ladybugs, B, Mighty Ducks, C, Bad News Bears, or D, The Big Green?
I've never seen this movie, but he said it was the Bad News Bears.
Right.
It's a great movie. You should watch it. Very fun. Next.
Jason said his favorite actor was blank. Was it A, Robert De
Pacino.
Niro? Okay.
Love
okay.
it.
We don't need
Yep.
to.
Next.
Let's get to it. Albert Breer said Shedeur Sanders would be chasing blank if drafted into the AFC. Do you already know the answer, or should I go down them?
Go down. I don't know.
Was it A, Waterfalls, B, The Bag, C, Demons, or D, Ceilings?
What is the AFC?
American Football Conference. It's the conference the Chiefs are in.
The Chiefs?
It's irrelevant to the answer. Yeah, it's
Okay, so I'm
irrelevant
gonna
to the
say
answer, though.
A, Waterfalls.
Jason.
Really?
Don't go chasing waterfalls, Holly.
They got me. Lewis got me. Okay, guys.
Are you remember the song "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls"? Are you old enough to remember that?
Left eye. We got left eye over here.
Yeah. All right.
Left eye.
Yeah. Dag it. All right. Holly's been unseated. Let's see what Gordon. And Gordon Butter's rooting for you. He's got a soft spot for your demographic. Let's go.
Wow, we're starting right off the top here, Jason. All right, Gordon. What did Shamika say leading to this facial expression from Jason Whitlock? That's a nice facial expression. Was it A, Butters had a gay lover, B, Jordan B. Peterson had a gay lover, C, Jesse Lee Peterson had a gay lover, or D, TJ had a gay lover?
Did y'all run these questions by TJ?
Where is this going? Jason, what kind of show are we running here? Come on, Gordon, what do you
Blame
got?
Hadley for those questions. Gordon, what do you got?
Much to Holly's chagrin, I'm going to go with C. Jesse Lee Peterson had a gay lover.
Woo, yes.
All right, there we go. Next. Go ahead, Gordon. The San Francisco Treat, I think, was his nickname when he was in California. But go ahead. Next.
Jason referred to whom as the most ghetto, matriarchal promoter of feminism?
Hold on, Gordon. Hold on. Let me clean that up. Jason referred to whom as the most ghetto, matriarchal promoter of feminism? There we go.
Was it A, Joy Reid, B, AOC, C, Jasmine Crockett, or D, Sonny Hostin?
I can't stand her, so I'm going to have to go with C, Jasmine Crockett.
That's right. Jason, you've got a couple words you can't pronounce either.
I got a bunch of words I can't pronounce.
Matriarchal is not a good word for me. I'm sorry, guys.
Matriarchal, just matriarchal.
It's
Anyway,
tough.
next.
Jason said he really enjoyed seeing which young actor in Crimson Tide. Was it A, James
Gandolfini.
Was it B, Jussie Smollett? C, Ryan
Felipe,
or D, Ricky Schroeder?
We misspelled Jussie on there, by the way. It's got an IE. But anyway, Gordon.
Oof, these are tough. I'm gonna go with D, Ricky Schroeder.
The golden.
It's over. It's over. I can't believe he didn't go with Jussie Smollett. I thought for sure he would go with Jussie.
You got a new champion,
Got a new champion. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Holly. We have a new champion from El Paso, Texas.
Big Lou.
Big Lou. Lou, you get to give a quick sports take, and you get $100 in Bitcoin. Do you got a sports take you want to get off your chest?
Of course, I'm from Texas, man. Dallas Cowboys next year's Super Bowl champions.
Holy cow. We just revoked his
Yes.
$100.
Put him in the butter box.
Please, yes, put Lewis in the butter box. What a way to end the show. Holy cow. I actually thought Lewis was smart. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh, Justin chiming in. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're done here. We'll see Lewis next week. Holly, we love you. Gordon, good luck with the rest of your life. We'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be. I just want.